In the space of 1 week, two notable events are set to take place. Firstly, the crazy year of 2023 will finally come to an end, but as a consequence, an entire month of transfer madness will begin. It's a tumultuous month where there's little stability in the clubs, with rumors coming in from every news outlet, but it's also a golden opportunity to get rid of the deadwood in the squad. In this video, we'll showcase 10 players that your club needs to get rid of in its transfer season, and make sure you stay until the end, because I really want to hear your opinion about the last two inclusions. But before we start, if this isn't the first time watching this channel, please consider subscribing. With your help, we've already achieved 2,000 subscribers, and now it's time to aim at 10,000. Now without further ado, let's get right to it. Number 10, Raphinha. Barcelona's president Joan Laporta has recently stated that Barca aren't a selling club. However, if they don't continue to succeed in Europe, they won't be able to earn the prize money they so desperately need. Barca more than ever need titles, but in order to do so, they need to step up. And it's pretty clear who's holding them back up front. Don't get me wrong, Raphinha is a decent player for the Premier League level, but Barca need a world-class partner to Phillips and Lewandowski. Should a quality offer come from Saudi Arabia or England in the next month, Bartomeu shouldn't think twice and sell him. Number 9, Rafael Silva. From Raphinha to Rafa, there isn't a big difference in the name, or the problem both Barca and Benfica have with their Rafael. Benfica have been disappointing this year, considering their form in the league and in Europe in the last season. Of course, Enzo's exit played a big role in Benfica's form downgrading, but their current biggest issue is their attack. Benfica not only lack a proper striker, but the man who plays behind that position is also one of their biggest problems. Rafael Silva has 4 goals scored in 14 league matches, but what makes it even worse is that he misses a ridiculous amount of great opportunities to score. Benfica should address this issue ASAP, especially considering he's in his last year of contract. This month is their golden opportunity to cash in on a departing player while improving their attack at the same time. It's really an obvious call. Number 8, Casemiro. Despite being one of the few standout players at Old Trafford during the 22-23 season, Casemiro has been unable to replicate the same form this year. Compounded by his fitness issues, the Brazilian has clearly lost his place at Manchester United. Incredibly, at 31 years old, Casemiro still has PSG interested in his services, but it's unlikely that the French giants will bid higher for him than either Al Nassr or Al Hilal. Either way, it's time for Man United to renew their midfield, and Casemiro doesn't belong in his new era. Number 7, Luka Modric. Don't get me wrong, Luka Modric and Casemiro's situations are not the same. Modric is a Real Madrid legend, but at the same time, he's also lost his place to the new generation of world-class Real midfielders. Valverde, Bellingham, Camavinga, even Kroos, who's already in his 30s, are all ahead of the Croatian star. But I know what you're thinking, why not letting him stay until the end of the season when his contract ends? Well, because Real Madrid have the chance to receive a decent amount for Modric. Let's not forget that Real will need to make a huge bid to get either Mbappe or Haaland in the next summer, so every penny counts in their strategic financial planning. With several clubs from the Saudi Pro League interested in Luka Modric, I honestly think Real should put their feelings aside and sell him. Number 6, Favu Carvalho. Let's be honest, Favu Carvalho's loan at Leipzig is not working out. The Portuguese midfielder has only started in 1 match in the Bundesliga and is still yet to score a goal in any competition. It feels like Leipzig simply isn't the best place for him considering his direct competition, but at the same time, if he can conquer his place in Germany, why should we think he'll be able to do it in Liverpool? At this point, the Reds are looking to sign Palhinha from Fulham. It won't be easy to simply convince the Cottagers with money, but with Carvalho in a permanent transfer included in the deal, that offer might be too good to refuse. Number 5, Calvin Phillips. It's safe to say that Man City is having a much harder time in the Prem than they hoped for. That, however, can't be attributed to Calvin Phillips, who has been a complete afterthought in his star-studded team. Despite his successful spell with Leeds, he just hasn't been able to replicate the same format he had. At this point, I think it's pretty obvious he's never gonna become a starter. I mean, Pep called him fat and only lets the guy on the field in meaningless matches. With the Euros coming soon and Juve interested in Phillips, I think all parties involved should start negotiating a move away from Manchester. Number 4, Leon Goretzka. Before we start, let me make this perfectly clear. I don't see Goretzka as a terrible player like many Bayern fans do. His main issue seems to be his lack of attacking prowess, so he always ends up disappointing when he's placed more up front. This season though, I think it's fair to say that Kimmich has looked worse than him, but Bayern will never sell their prodigy. Besides, Kimmich has more versatility than Goretzka, so the logical option is to take advantage of Man United's interest on Lyon, promote Pavlovic to the starting 11, put Kimmich at right back once again, and buy a quality defensive midfielder with the money from Goretzka's transfer. Do you agree? Number 3. Eric Dyer. The fact that I witnessed a time when Eric Dyer was not only one of Tottenham's best players, but also one of England's greatest prospects really makes me feel old. In all seriousness, it's pretty clear that the 29-year-old has completely lost his place in the Spurs squad after several underwhelming seasons. Ange doesn't even see him as a good enough option for the bench, so if Dyer still has ambition, he needs to dust himself off and leave. I'm sure he would probably still find a place in a weaker Premier League team, but a move to Sporting makes perfect sense. The Lions will be raided by several European clubs trying to get their star centre-back Gonçalo Inácio, so they will be more than interested to get their former youth academy graduate back in Alvalade. Number 2. Gigi Donnarumma. Yep, I told you this was going to get controversial, but before you jump in the comments and say that I learned football from McDonald's, hear me out. Donnarumma currently receives the 4th most expensive wage for a goalkeeper, and he certainly hasn't lived up to the hype he generated when he arrived. It's not like he's performing as bad as the last player in his list, but he has definitely made some blunders in Europe, and let's not even talk about that stupid red card a couple of weeks ago. PSG have Arnaud Tenas, an exciting young keeper coming up who showed a lot of composure as his replacement, plus Keylor Navas on the bench who's still a solid backup option. Ultimately, should I transfer list Gigi right away? Of course not, but if anyone comes calling, let him go. Number 1. Andre Onana. Now in this case, I have no doubt in my mind that Man United should sell him immediately. I have never seen a keeper making so many costly mistakes and bounce back. Never. I'm not excusing Man United's faulty defense, but he has conceded multiple shots that a keeper in his level has an obligation to save. It's been a shame in Europe, a complete opposite of what he showed last year with Inter, but then again, those who defend him pointing out that United's defense is the main culprit should also consider that Onana's Inter had one of the most solid defensive records in Europe. I'm not gonna go into extremes and say that he's a terrible player, but a move away from the toxic English media will only benefit him. Man United has Bayandi ready to grab his first opportunity, while De Gea is still a free agent. Maybe it's time for everybody to start reconsidering their options and for Man United to admit their serious mistakes. And that is it for the video. Don't forget to leave a like so I know you want to watch more content like this, and subscribe to never miss the most interesting football discussions, stories, and top 10 lists. Thank you for watching till the end, I appreciate you, and I will see you soon.